Peace. This is just a little extra, just to see how Skip and Shannon commented on the Iguodala situation with their roundtable of black sports writers. Let's see what they touch on.
While the Warriors lost by one.
That white female ref, she has a thing for Steph. You can look in her eyes. See how she's trying to make eye contact with him? She has a thing for Steph Curry. Keep your eyes on that.
One to the Timberwolves on Friday night, but the big story
Look at that.
happened.
She desperate to make eye contact with him.
While the Warriors lost by one to the Timberwolves on Friday night, but the big
Steph looking away and she's still trying to make eye contact.
Story happened after the game. Steve Kerr said he would sit his entire core, including Andre Iguodala, the next night against the Spurs. Iguodala was asked about the decision and responded by saying the N-word multiple times. Take a listen.
Anything else? No. What would Dunn say? Just play harder. Figure it out. Change gonna come. Ain't that what we should say? Yeah. Change gonna come.
Was it planned that you guys would take tomorrow?
We taking tomorrow?
You still?
Nope, no clue. Do what Master say.
Iguodala said his comments were not directed at Steve Kerr. Kerr responded before Saturday's game. This is what he said.
Yeah, you guys got Andre'd. That's what happened.
I think you might have got Andre'd.
You got Andre. Andre is one of those guys who likes to stir the pot.
With the N word, Steve? Really? Come on, man.
Has a lot of cryptic messaging at times.
It's only cryptic if you can't decrypt it.
Jokes around. I wasn't offended by anything he said personally.
How could you be? What are you going to say? You're a so-called white liberal. As soon as a so-called black man starts using the N-word, you have to bow down and bow back, right? That's a fire that he has to put out on his own.
But he chose some words that were questionable, and he's got to respond to that.
You see, he said he chose some words that were questionable, and he has to respond to it, meaning, hey, nigga, you on your own. You decided that you wanted to play that game. Now you got to deal with the liberal media. That's what Steve Kerr said.
Now joined by Rob Parker and Chris Broussard. Chris, I'd like to start with you on your thoughts on everything we just heard.
Well, first of all, it's great to be here. According to the reports, and you just saw Steve Kerr say, we got Andre. So the reports are saying that Iguodala was trying to troll the media, like put something out there to cause a stir, cause an uproar and all that. First of all, you don't joke with slavery. There was too many lives lost, too much blood shed, and too many foul ramifications we as black people still have to deal with today because of the racism and white supremacy that created slavery. So that's off limits. Secondly, in trying to troll the media, I think Andre Iguodala, who's very intelligent.
It's another time where they feel the need to talk about how intelligent this man is. I mean, what did the man cure cancer? Did he find a way to implement solar panels on every house? Like, they keep calling him intelligent. I'm trying to figure out, why did they keep calling him intelligent for? Is he intelligent for a basketball player? Like, give me a break.
To me, he showed that he may have, and many of his teammates, a slave mentality. And I say a slave mentality is when you as an African American have internalized racism and white supremacy that was forced on us in slavery.
So because he said what he said, he has a slave mentality. Now you've gone too far the other direction. But Chris Broussard, no disrespect to him, he's one of these. He comes off to me as one of these light-skinned blacks who tries to dominate the blackness conversations. Just my opinion. He comes off like that, like that guy who's super, super, super light-skinned, but he wants to appear super blackety black. He knows everything about black history and how we've been so oppressed and yada, yada, yada.
And Jim Crow, so much that you believe the lie that white people are superior and black people are inferior.
Nothing about Iguodala's comments show that he has a slave mentality. What his comments show was that was a cry for help. All right.
And I think a lot of African Americans have that mentality. And that, in addition to institutionalized racism, is one of the things that's holding us back as a people, in my view.
Only thing holding so-called black people back as a people is no culture, right? You keep trying to beg the white man to make you equal. So therefore, you give him the ability to define who you are and where you came from. All right? So that's the only thing that can hold a people back. No other race allows another race to define their history, who they are, and therefore who they're going to be. So Chris Broussard is another black liberal that's trying to talk a good game.
Okay, why do I say he had a slave mentality? He said that when he said massa, that's an inside joke in the locker room. So are the black players in Golden State joking around about massa, calling a white man massa, whether it's Steve Kerr or whether it's something that's representative of white power, Adam Silver and the NBA?
Look, by no means am I going to defend Iguodala. I think that his statements were pretty asinine, but I do think that they were a cry for help. And no, I don't think that he has a so-called white supremacy mentality. And let's be for real. So-called black people, it's common for so-called black people to make plantation jokes about the workplace. All right? Let's not act like that's never happened before. Chris Broussard, a.k.a. Chris X.
If you're a black man with children, you're grown, you're making millions of dollars, and you are free to do anything you want, why in the world are you referring to any white person as massa?
Because the money does not stipulate the level of the relationship. You could be a high-paid slave.
I don't feel comfortable referring to any man as massa.
Not seriously, but in a mocking tone, you could.
All right, jokingly
I've
or
never
not.
used the term. I don't even see where you would use that.
So he said that's a joke that they may use.
But here's the thing, Chris. If it's an inside joke, it's only funny to those inside. You're telling it to outside people that have no knowledge of what the inside joke is.
Because it's a cry for help, Shannon. It's a cry for help, brother. He was crying almost as loud as that blazer you got on.
And Shannon, that's the best point of all, is that you're standing in front of the camera and reporters have their notepads and recorders, and this is the conversation or this is the joke you're throwing out. Totally irresponsible, and there's no way that he should get a pass for doing that. You have a responsibility to the people you work for, the people who are watching at home, everything. Why would you do that? And again, that's not an inside joke.
But we do this all the time as African Americans. How many rap songs? We're not segregated anymore.
Chris Broussard is going on a whole other level. He's trying to go to the pro-black, liberal black level. And it has nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? These three fools are trying to put their head together about this situation. It's very basic. Andre Iguodala is trying to say without saying that they have issues in that locker room, in that organization. All right? It may have been him who said that there's problems in the locker room and not Draymond, but I believe it was Draymond. But it's amazing to me, these so-called reporters, they have no intuitive skills whatsoever. None. I give Shannon a pass because Shannon's probably had about 20 concussions in his career.
It's not just using the N-word amongst ourselves. We all got family members that use it.
But that's a different.
And you use it too, Negro. Knock it off.
That's a different
How's it-
conversation. Yeah, because
It's still public.
yeah, but when you talk
It's
about
still in
when you
the
talk
presence
about
of other
music
races of
and
people.
lyrics, you have a license. I will never say that somebody should words they should use to express themselves in music, a song. I have a right to buy this album or not if I don't want to hear that. But I'm watching the post-game show on the Warriors. That's not what I expect to hear. Totally different.
And
Okay?
Agreed. You hear that, Chris X?
Plus, Andre Iguodala also must understand, first and foremost, he is a representation of all African Americans.
No, he's not. No, he is absolutely not.
And your words have meaning. They have context. And you trying to be glib, you trying to shed an inside joke to those on the outside that don't know the meaning of the inside joke.
Because it wasn't an inside joke, Shannon.
Joke. Inside what?
And Shannon, I want to say this. This even the use of that word. Most people who
The
are
N
black
word or massive?
have you. No, we're talking about the N word now. Okay. You're with your friends, close friends. That word is used. Everybody, I've used it. I'm sure most of the guys up here have used it on personal with friends, close friends. Not you. But I'm talking.
No, he's used it the most.
Talking about, but the word outside of that. When I go to a comedy club, we went to a comedy club the other night.
It was used.
It was used. I was uncomfortable sitting in a mixed crowd with, even though I know it's a comedy show, I get it, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Used by the comedian.
But hold on, how's that different than music?
But I'm just saying, I still feel.
So you mean to tell me, you know what's funny about these dudes? They'll say that, but then they'll come back and tell you that Richard Pryor is the greatest comedian of all time, and that Eddie Murphy's Delirious is the greatest stand-up of all time. And when you watch both of those, when you watch Eddie Murphy Delirious, and when you watch Richard Pryor, all they did was throw the N-word around. Now Richard Pryor had a little spell in around 1979, 1980, where he said he was going to stop using it, but then he went right back to using it. So these guys, a lot of them, they just talk a lot of hot nonsense.
Still feel uncomfortable because with music I have more of an option. I don't know what the comedian's going to say. There's no sticker on it that says he's going to use the N-word, where I know if I'm buying a certain kind of music, I do know whether I can control it. Okay? And number two, I remember watching the movie 42. You know that scene where Jackie Robinson's playing the Phillies and the manager there is just calling the N-word over and over and over. That scene bothered me so much to watch. And I know it's a movie. I know that.
And that's because that word nigger has taken on such a powerful resonance with liberal blacks, because you guys want the white man to accept you and love you so bad, right? That love y'all want so bad. It's crazy.
I know this is what went on, and it still is hard. So when he's so glib and flippant to do that in public, in a public setting, it bothered me to just even hear it.
Skip, before you guys, just want to say this, and I want people to stop saying that Andre Iguodala is smart, he's intellectual.
I agree with that.
Because smart people say dumb things sometimes. We just saw Ben Carson compare slaves to immigrants. So
That's dumb.
And he's a neurosurgeon. So
Well, he might be smart like a fox. He might be telling you that a lot of blacks didn't come here as slaves. He might be telling you that a lot of blacks came here as refugees from Europe, Shannon. But a lot of you black people, so-called black people, don't know a damn thing about your own history, right? Y'all will make everybody black in history a slave. Whoever the white man missed, y'all will make them slaves.
sometimes smart people say dumb things. Right. Let's just say he said something dumb. He shouldn't have said it, and not try to bring his intellect inside of it, because there's no way around this. I don't care if he has a PhD, he's a Rhodes Scholar. I don't care if he went straight from high school to pros and he doesn't have a college degree. Under no circumstance will this or should this ever be accepted in an open forum, that you get to say something like this, make light of something like this. Because like I said, if you start with this premise, Chris and Rob, slavery and the Holocaust should be never used in a comparison. If you go there, just start from there and just move on.
He did.
If he's strong as an ox, if he's big as a tree, he got more money than God. Okay, I get all that. But when you start talking about where people lost their lives and were brutalized, and you try to make light of that and try to make a comparison, it's just wrong.
Who's saying that he was defending him as an intellectual?
No, I'm just.
We're just saying, we're not saying he's not a
from
smart
Twitter
person.
or
No. I'm just saying. I hear people.
A lot of people
say, but Andre, he's smart. He's thoughtful. He's a deep thinker. Yeah,
Kurt said it.
Huh?
Yeah,
Kurt
Kurt
said
said
it.
it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I told you to start earlier in the show, because I know him. Do you know him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have respect for Andre.
So do I. I have a lot of
think he said
respect.
something wrong.
He can be a little wacky, a little off center, and sometimes his methods seem a little like madness to me, but he usually has some point that he's trying to make, even if he wrongly makes it. And again, I defer to the three of you on all of the above. I'll just give you my 2 cents as a white guy from a distance, a guy who knows him a little bit, enough to know he does have depth to him. Whether you think it's wrong-headed depth, that's your call, all your calls. But in this case, those comments, all of them, are dripping with sarcasm to me, because he was trying to make a point.
Yeah, the point being that there's something rotten in Golden State. Peace.